Welcome, everybody, to another exciting episode of Bitcoin Live. Today, with me in the show is Sandeep, co founder of Green Earth. Welcome to the show.
Good afternoon, Nick, and good evening, everyone here. Uh,
Well,
it's a it's a pleasure for me to be on this call.
it's a pleasure to host you, and we have a lot to cover today. We're going to go deep into Green Earth. Can you give us a little bit of background who you are before we get started?
Yeah. So I started my career, the working career in 1998. That was a brief stint with an oil company, and then I joined Shankar doing my MBA together, and then we both went into technology. And around 2005, I shifted into investment management for a couple of years. And around 2006 and 7, I realized this whole monetary thing is causing a lot of destruction. It's not sustainable. So that point of time we started discussing how to solve that problem, and since 2007 we started working on that. So technically speaking, what we are discussing today has its roots in around 2006 and on. We started working on 2007 on different issues, making farms, natural farms, etc. And then from there, almost 15 years, it has been a gradual step working with communities, figuring out how nature wants us to work, etc. And this is one of the logical extensions of that work.
So this is basically also that ties into the motivation behind starting the Green Earth project. Can you tell us a little bit more about the motivation behind the project?
Yeah. So I will just take you. I'll start with the first picture, if you can. Uh, yes. So this is around 2016, and this is a point, changing point in our thought process. So earlier, when we started our work on creating sustainable consumption, all the models which we were following were actually not were actually red. I mean, from artificial dams to everything was red. And then I
Hmm.
started using the native knowledge, how did they do their work, because humanity has survived over a long period of time and they have some good knowledge. So then I realized, there is a sustainable way to make a pond, and communities know that very easily. It comes to them very easily. So this is one of the work, and similarly, there's another one. The second one, the second picture, which is a Himalayan thing. So then once we started learning, we started going across different kind of ecologies. I mean, different terrains, different ecologies, to learn how will they do it if left it on their own. How would they do it sustainably, and how would they replenish the ecology? The part of the food or the food products came along with it. I mean, if we are doing something, we are growing something useful, how does it reach the market, came along with it. But the primary focus was how do we create those activities which are sustainable in nature and restore ecologies. And the third picture is the alarming one. If you come down to the third picture, and then I come to the answering your question. So third one is, it's Narmada Basin, which is central India, and this is when we toured it around. I'm talking of 13 to almost 10 to 12 years back. Shankar was also with me, and we realized this was one of the densest forests on the planet. In even in records, it was the densest, and this is what it had become in last 20 to 30 years. This is the kind of consumption we were having. And there were a lot of good foods, good consumables which are coming out of it, but in a sustainable manner, and they had got destroyed. So this created the motivation that, whatever we talk about, unless there is a way to have a sustainable consumption and a sustainable production, there we cannot solve earth's problems. So once that was clear, then the remaining things, puzzles, started getting solved in the mind. starting with foods, because food is a very common denominator. Food and housing is a very common denominator, which can create a massive impact. So food we started with, and then when it came to food, we realized, okay, we can grow very good food naturally, locally. It is sufficient enough for a lot of consumption, and but then it creates another problem. Two problems. One is, because it is becoming very scarce, there's a lot of facade in the market, a lot of artificial products in the market, which are actually slowing down the growth of this natural stuff. I mean, people claiming that it is real, but it is not real. It is hiding behind a lot of walls of branding, or lot of marketing communication, but it is not showing where it is coming from. And that is leading to another effect, which is, how does the benefit of a real work or a natural work go down to the people who are doing it, or a person who is managing that asset? So because there's a lot of misinformation in the middle, that benefit is not going down. Uh, so uh, that's where the whole concept of what we call Ganga platform came up. And from there, as we were discussing, we realized that linking it to a token, which can hold the value of assets, is very important, and it can reward actually that kind of consumption and production, is very important. So that is where this whole motivation came, that in order to really impact the market or the consumption, we need to have this kind of a concept.
So, how is the Ganga project going to work with communities on the ground level?
Yeah, again, I'll go to the fourth picture.
Yeah.
Fourth, fifth, sixth, and that. So uh, this has been our journey, actually. See, so pictures demonstrate that journey more than words, any or whatever we can speak. So this is Suhagpur in 2017, around 5 years ago, and we were the team sitting here is. I mean, in India, they are the top most academics, and they had come down all the way to our forest to understand how do we change how do we bring consumption to a more sustainable level. So we worked with them, then we worked with a lot of village communities around it, that if you don't come back to sustainable consumption, whatever is greenery we see around you is going to die anyhow. So that is the kind of discussions we have had with those communities. And I'll come down to the next image 5. So similar kind of conversations have gone on over decades with different villages, different zones. This is Himalayan zone. This is, you can say, at 4,500 MSL, which is right below the glacier line, the top two pictures. So there we have sat down with those communities, how to make their local product produce, or their local ecology, their local economy. So those kinds of things have been going on, because they have been borrowing money, or have been living money on which is coming from a very long distance. So, and the third image, which is sixth image, sorry, the below one. So this is about the Gangetic Basin, where there are multiple organizations which partner with us. Some very acclaimed ones, IIT Kanpur, Unnat Bharat Abhiyan, and you can see we are standing in a guava orchard below, and talking to a farmer. How do we the guava orchards have just evaporated, so very few islands of such orchards have remained. So we are talking to them, how do we link those to an e-commerce platform, and why such a pristine thing is getting lost at such a rapid pace. So those are the parts of the journey, and then came the next part of the journey. So I'll go to the image 7, which is about that soap making. So when this guava thing, because both are tied together, when this guava thing came, we realized across all these ecologies that their food products, their cosmetic products, etc., are being made very far away. And when they are being made very far away, they involve a lot of chemicals, and of course a carbon footprint in logistics. So the answer was, how do we bring those skills back right in their center, and skills which were already in fashion some, a decade ago. How to make soaps out of, turmerics, or how to make jams out of guava, which they can do here itself. It and the issue was the industrial practices are creating very cheap products, while handmade have a certain 10 to 20% kind of premium. But then we realized, in the name of natural and organic, there's a far more premium which the middlemen are drawing. So if it's just a matter of being transparent. So in the same chain, we have the next image, which is image number 8. So I'm showing the images upfront, then we can have a very detailed conceptual conversation. So image 8 is same thing we are doing in a Himalayan thing. The locals would understand, it's called Kantikari and Kantkari, and women in that Himalayan village are making pickles out of gooseberry, which is called avla here, and various other fruits which are otherwise thrown, but they are very, I mean, they're the top quality ones. They fetch the highest value in an organic market, but they are thrown locally. So bringing those skills back to the communities in how they can use their well established old knowledge in order to give a higher value to the natural produce they are making. So this is a way we are working with communities, across communities. Number one is restore the ecology. But then the next question arises: if we are restoring it, how do we, because it's a long effort, decade long effort, how do we financially sustain such effort? So how do we bring back, add more value? I mean, instead of, there are raw fruits which have a certain perishability and we don't add chemicals, then, and we don't want them to be sent to cold storages because then they will add chemicals there. So how do we add value using the traditional knowledge? And that is a beautiful part, because the moment you do it, of course we don't have all the knowledge, the knowledge is very distributed in every household. The moment we start doing it, I mean, we talk about it, they take it as if, another person has come, the person is, and the moment we start doing it, showing them how it is to be done, and we
Yes,
are not the best, then they come out with their ideas.
that makes a lot of sense. But what is the level of transparency, like in operation and in finance?
Yeah. So, as I told you, it has evolved over years, and where we have come to right now is that we need complete transparency. I mean, we can put it in silos, whether it's operational or financial, but there has to be a complete transparency, because the transparency then leads to another level. I mean, that is the next level of next level of community involvement, which is collaboration. Because unless we are transparent, a consumer does not know the chain, the operational chain of a product, where it is coming from, who is making it, etc., and does not know the financial transparency of the product, how much I paid and how much did actually the farmer get paid, or how much did that self-help group get paid. So that level of transparency we are demanding from everyone who is involved with us, so that the consumer can possibly collaborate in a more meaningful manner. If they have a transparency, they can even customize the products, they can even play around with that kind of information. So that is the level of transparency. I will show you so this is already ongoing. So what we are doing with the Ganga is, actually we are aggregating few all our effort into one thing. But before Ganga, we had there's already a running organization. If you can show the 10th image, which is a application. Yeah, 10th one. So the, that is already, we had an Android application and a website, where if someone was ordering, they were able to see exact trace of everything. I mean, the financial transparency I'm talking of, and as well as the operational transparency I was talking of. So all these features were there, but with Ganga, it will be at another level. This was very specific to forest produce, but with Ganga, we are including artisans, we are including traditional handicrafts people, and food processing and all that also in a new platform. So coming back, the thing is, whatever currently we can think of as a transparency, we are including.
And
Whatever we are not able to think of, there's a challenge. You tell us what information you are not getting. That has We believe it has to be on a platform.
yeah, yeah, I agree. And now, how do you see the different type of consumer and producer groups being benefited this way?
Yeah. So three ways. Number one, uh, when it comes to the consumers, they are getting they are getting a full information with the trace where their produce has come from. So they can see exactly what is the financial chain, whether someone has actually got benefited by their green consumption. If it has led to some benefit, right down all the way down to the person who should be benefited. So and they can see exactly what is logistics, what is marketing cost, and everything. It has to be brought forward. So it is quite disruptive in that manner. It's And the second part is, so consumer can, with all that information, can go out and collaborate. They can it can They need not buy the same thing off the shelf every time. They can tell that whole supplier, I want a different flavor, can you give it to me? Okay, because the information, they already have the information who is doing it. Okay, we are not hiding it. It is their choice to be on this thing and work, because we there's entire there's a token out here, there's a green earth certification out here. And of course, because we are aggregating and we are imparting skills, trainings, and we are also keeping a watch, so that has a certain value. But we are not stopping them from collaborating, and even they can collaborate using our platform. So that is from the consumer point of view. It's a very different way of thinking altogether. The uh, uh, second thing is when it comes to the producers. So same thing applies to producers. I'll give you an example of honey. uh, Tree honey, typically tree honey, it sells for, I mean, I'll try to convert it into approximate dollars. So it sells for say $10 in India at a consumer end. Okay. But the person who is harvesting it, the person who is actually managing all the trees, he is protecting all the trees, he has done it for last 40-50 years, those large trees, and the ecologies, they are hardly getting $1 out of it. Okay. The remaining $9 is going either in marketing, packaging, uh, mostly the branding companies, etc. So this person is at an edge. They just want to do away with it and go do start doing something else. While on the other side, that $10, the consumer is willing to pay $20 for it if they get the transparency.
True,
Okay,
true.
because so that is how the producers will get benefited. Ki they now can get the real value financially, and on top of it comes the greener token, which is incentivizing them to keep those assets.
Yeah, so it's a win-win-win, basically. How do you see the impact of green earth on ecology?
Two ways. I mean, again, look at it vertically and horizontally. So direct is vertical. So if a consumer is buying tree honey, okay, compared to someone who cannot say where the tree is, they won't be able to claim it's a tree honey. So if a consumer is buying a tree honey, there is a direct impact on that tree being saved and the ecology around it being saved. Okay. So this is while the monetary practices or the greener token is an incentivizer, or no, it's passing on financial values or monetary values. But on the other side, it is having an impact that, now they are able to see that tree has to be saved for generations again, which they had done it. So all that, this is the direct impact of it. Now, then comes the horizontal impact of it, which is the moment that is being saved. I'll draw two chains out of it. Number one, so typically, if a tree is being saved and that tree is a people tree, there's a tree called people tree in India, in which if you provide the the native ecology around it, it attracts a lot of honeybees, and honeybees like make their combs on it. So if that tree is being protected, then what happens? There's an indirect impact on the nature, where just like there was a documentary from Canada, they left wolves in a river basin, and that river came alive. So
Yeah.
same way, if the tree is kept here, all the other animals, the milking animals, the grazing animals, they get those, they love those leaves of the people tree. I mean, immediately it has got some statins, it has got a lot of chemicals in it, or the proteins in it, that they become very strong. So they start coming alive, they start becoming happier and alive. So while we are solving the honey thing, there's a horizontal impact on something else. So that is one part of it. The human part of it is again very different. While we are solving that, hu- the communities start coming out on their own, that okay, now we have a product which is performing, can we do something more to that product? Can we make, so because honey is a preservative also, so they are able to, once they have the honey, they are able to preserve the citrus fruits in a honey. Okay, so now there's a horizontal knowledge which again starts coming back, and they start thinking of products which can come because of that one single impact.
So it allows for specialization, and it also keeps the local ecology intact, so to speak.
Yes.
So you got the food chain project. What are the goals and the timelines and for the various aspects of the food chain?
Yes.
So,
So we have a multitude of projects going parallelly, and they are tied together. So one is, of course, last conversation you discussed with Shankar, which is the Green Earth blockchain. And since we are an affiliate or a partner to Green Earth blockchain, we are developing this Ganga platform, on which there will be the transactions, the e-commerce transactions. So, so the that Green Earth, the Ganga platform is development is happening. There's a separate technology team which is doing it. It has a timeline of developing the core platform by, I think they should be able to do it by November end, and then they will create the iOS and the Android versions of it. That will take another month or so for them, once they have the core processes developed. So that is part of it. And as part of this project, we'll also interact with the Green Earth in sharing of information, how the coins are to be distributed to the communities once a transaction is happening. So all that is going on. Then the second part of the project is bringing all the existing partners. I mean, we as a Ganga, we have 650 SHGs, which is called self-help groups. So 650 SHGs means roughly 1,000 persons per SHG being impacted. So you can imagine the scale of people who are going to be have to be incorporated on this chain as a supplier side. And then all the existing customers who have been associated with us for last 10 years, they have also to be migrated to this Ganga platform. So those are so all those SHGs and their customers means roughly around 500 products have to be brought on this, with a new scale of transparency. Okay, and so that is going on. That is a, because it's a physical process, and it is happening in 6 zones in the country. I mean, India is broadly divided into 27 to 28 ecological zones, and we are first incorporating the 6 zones. Okay, where we have centers, we have all these SHGs, so we are incorporating them. uh, the demand is huge. I mean, if we could do it 5 years ago, it is that kind of demand, where organic farmers, they are waiting for something transparent. They just want to, it will be a challenge to them also, because they have to become transparent, right?
yeah.
It's just not for us, it's for people who are participating in this platform also. So uh, so uh, uh, so that is happening. So this will be ongoing, but the first phase of all this data migration, I expect around January, May to February end, where all the existing people working with us will come on board. And
Wow.
then comes the other part, third part, which will be an ongoing effort, that we will need the nodal agents who are verifying the products, who are verifying the transparency, that set of people to be brought on board. Then all the beneficiaries, so we have a concept of beneficiary also in the Ganga platform. I'll discuss it later. So all those have to be brought on, so they have to be continuously brought on the platform. So I have estimated that we will need at least mm, anywhere close to 100,000 to 600,000 verifying agents. We'll start with the initial thing of 10,000, but over a lifetime we will need so many who have to be part of the chain. So they will
Wow.
have to be involved.
That will create a lot of new jobs, of course. And India is a gigantic country. So how do you verify? I mean, how do you check all of these things in the food chain?
Yes. So I will I'll answer this question in two parts. I'll come to the verification, which is the process part, later, and I'll come to the understanding part first, because this has been my journey. When I started solving this problem, it looked so difficult, right? When
Yeah.
I when I thought of some fundamentals, it looked so simple. So I'm talking about that so simple first. See, simple part of it is, most of the natural, most, you mean 80 to 90% of the natural food uh, uh, is does not has any parallel. Okay, for example, a tree honey has no parallel. Okay, the product itself is, if you have a tree honey, it is a tree honey. Similarly, on a say a giant tree, if it has having a fruit, okay, it has no parallel. It is, I mean, we don't need to question whether it is organic or inorganic or whatever.
Yeah.
It is a giant tree standing for 100 years. It has a fruit. It is natural. Okay, so similarly, apples which are coming out of topmost Himalayas, or guavas which are coming out of Gangetic plains, those are those are there because of a certain ecology there. Okay, and then they have been replicated in a different ecology, but those replications have been done using genetically modified breeds. They have been done using chemicals, etc., but they don't get those, they don't get those qualities. So the thing is, the moment, two part one first part of it is, the moment, so we have broken down our stable of products when it comes to food into three parts. Number one, which is by very its name, it's natural. Okay, it's a banyan tree. It has got a fruit or a leaf. It is natural. Okay, it is not part of a direct consumption. It is being indirectly consumed. Say animals are eating it, then it is being consumed. That's a different thing. Or it is being consumed either as a medicine. uh, that's also a use case. But lot of these are directly natural. Then the second part of it is, there are replicas in the market, but those replicas are nowhere close to an authentic pure breed, which is coming from that ecology, desert or Himalayan, or which, and it happens there only. So the moment we go with, and there's a question, how do we work with the communities? We go with the community and we search for those uniqueness. I know what was that so unique to you, and which has got lost in this market. So we search for that uniqueness, we search for that ecology, what was unique in that ecology. And surprisingly, I come out with things that it is no longer being used. People are not consuming it while it is there in abundance. Okay, so that is the second part. And the third part of it is where there is an overlap with an organic or say wheat. So wheat or pulses is an overlap, and they can be grown with minimal destruction to the nature. Okay, so these, there are overlaps. So when we design a process, how do we monitor all these? So we are appointing nodal agents in every area, but when they have to vet it, meaning see what is, so they have three things. See, the top two brackets don't have certifications for them. Typically, organic world is typically dealing with where there's already a lot of intervention. It
Mhm.
is not dealing with pure natural ones. Okay, and even the pure natural by where it's very specific to a geotagging, or it's very specific product from that area, and each area on the planet has that. Okay, so those two things are not being dealt by the existing certifications. So there we don't have certifications to use. We go by authenticity or the geotagging, or whether it's very specific natural food. And then when it is a very specific natural food, we have set up a few things. Number one, uh, what is the time of harvest, and then at the time of harvest, there the verification happens. So if someone, if because the life of these products is like 10 to 15 days or 30 days, so at the time of, the nodal agent has to verify at the time of harvest, that okay, this is the farm it is coming from, and this is the harvest time. I verified nothing has been used post harvest. Okay, so that is one, that is a way even the organic chains use that kind of verification. When it comes to the when it comes to the mass overlap, where wheat kind of or pulses kind of thing comes into picture, we have a help. I mean, the organic, the permaculture, all those kinds of things are ready to help us, because they have already set up a lot of certifying processes. So either we can, even some governments in India have set up a lot of certifying processes. So we can use their processes, their certificates. Okay, you have a certificate, the nodal agent says we are okay with it. Okay, need not check it. But if you don't have a certificate, uh, then our nodal agent will have a lot of work. And
Yeah,
then we have incorporated a percentage fee or some coins for tokens for doing that work.
that makes sense. I actually got two more questions for you. The
Yeah.
first one is, what excites you the most about this whole project?
See, number thing is, when you look back, and when when I look around, and I showed you that picture of that those dense forests being converted into rocky terrain, and it has happened in last 20 years. What are we going to leave for our children on this planet? You know, what are we living for, and what are we going to leave for? And once that question is ahead of you, there's nothing else. There's absolutely no other noise. Yeah, one below that. Of course, all of these are very barren terrains, which once used to be very green. This is the one where we are trying to restore. So, and the dry arid lands which you see were the densest forests on the planet, and this is what it has become. So the question is, the primary question is, when we die, what kind of things we are going to leave it? So that comes with, I mean, it comes with every parent or every adult on the planet is thinking about it, right? So that, now how do we change that? That is the other question. Okay, where do we start the change? We cannot protest all the time that this is bad or that is bad, or we cannot. So we have to find a way out of the existing situation. Okay, an existing thing. And then I realized that we need not worry. The rivers have a lot of, the nature has a lot of capacity to regenerate itself. We just need to give it the space. And there's so much food we can consume without being destructive. We can live in lavish houses without being destructive. People were living it like that a few hundred years back. If you see the castles in Europe, they were living a lavish life, but we are not living that life. So without being disruptive. So they were using stones, right? They were using all the local material, and same with India. So how do we bring our life back to that kind of luxury? I would say than this curse we are living, and in cities or wherever. So that was the thing, and at the same time we leave a very happy planet for the next generation. So
Yeah,
with those things, the problems, those are the burning questions which will be with us. I mean, as you see, we will keep on expanding the use cases. I mean, currently we are at food and the food related products, but probably it will be going to carbon credit, it will be going even to the travel, or even to how we can, even to a lot of how do we heal ourselves. So those kinds of things are for a future discussion. But that was a motivation which keeps us happy and motivated. There's no pressure of whether we do it, how much we do, how much we achieve in this lifetime. It has to be done day in and day out.
So one final question, and then I'll let you go, Sandeep. What do you see as the most challenging part in this whole operation?
Challenging, see, two things will arise. Uh, there's a bigger challenge because when we are incorporating a full transparency into the system, right? We are almost throwing a challenge to the way existing businesses run. Okay. So they will pose a certain amount of challenge before changing.
Yeah,
Okay. I have no doubt that they will have to change and will be happy if they come to Green Earth as an affiliate. But they will have to change. Okay, there's no other future for the planet. Okay, so better they change fast. But before they change, they will pose a challenge. Okay, so it's a matter of how they have learned their businesses. So that is one thing. So that is going to a big challenge. And when it comes to that, so that is an external challenge. And when it comes to our internal challenges, uh, I think so because there has been a 15 to 16-year journey behind the ground level challenge. Okay, and so the biggest thing, if you stand on day zero on this project, then it's mind boggling. Where do you start? I mean, where are the communities, where are the people, where are the project products? How do you even communicate with them? How do you even convince them that, okay, this is, I will do this? Okay, so since we have almost like a monk, we have worked for 16 years in village to village, going around. So that is no longer being a challenge. I think our challenges are now, and second, internal challenges are also being solved by the state of the affair of the nature, because it's in such a shape that people are realizing it. We don't have
yeah,
to say so much. So okay, so I mean 30 years before or 40 years before, I would not have been able to convince them. So so that way there is already a momentum which is forcing, which is helping us internally. Okay. So internal challenges mostly covered. It will be in the form of new, continuously keeping up with technologies, etc., and continuously training people on the. But I think that momentum will help us solve those challenges. And second thing is our complete, you can say complete devotion to being transparent, to being we and complete focus that it has to be, if the earth has to be greened again. A complete, absolutely, there's business is secondary, everything is secondary. This is the first purpose. So that helps us solve the internal challenges. Okay,
yeah.
those who don't understand it will pose external challenges. But if there's so many people involved, then we will be, that's not too much of a worry.
Well, Sandeep, I want to thank you for this really amazing and educative talk. I learned a lot, and I advise everybody who's listening to start following Green Earth. You see the Twitter handle down there, and you see the Twitter up there. So start following Green Earth, go participate. It's a very interesting and very large, comprehensive project that will probably revolutionize, what is basically a completely new industry, right? So join, follow, participate, and we also have a really nice giveaway for you guys. Make a tweet, tell us what you learned, what excited you about all of this. Don't forget to tag Green Earth underscore AI. Follow me, or tag me, I should say, Bitcoin Live DB, and my brother Jay Dalmoder. If you do that, you got 24 hours and you might win 10 GEBT, which is the currency or the crypto associated with the project. It's a really nice prize. I suggest you participate. We have 3 winners. We'll pick 3 winners. All you have to do is make that tweet or a couple of tweets, and we'll pick the 3 best tweets, or tweeters, I should say, and they win each 10 GEBT. So Sandeep, I want to thank you for doing this. I can't wait for the next episode and learn even more about this amazing project.
Yes.
And yeah, I wish you a really nice, I guess,
Thank you.
afternoon.
Thank you. Yeah, it's evening, and to all the viewers, I mean, it beyond this project, there's a world they can see our projects, they can physically live. We have a lot of centers. They can see how honey is taken out. All that is a people can just walk into our projects and see how they are being done.
Yeah, and I'll make a tweet below this video so that people know the rules, how they can participate, and of course, how they can follow Green Earth underscore AI and join the revolution. Sandeep, I
Thank
wish
you.
you a very nice evening then, and
Thank you.
I hope to see you again in the future.
Yeah. Thank you.
Take care.
Thank. Bye.